Hi, my name is Stephan. I'm one of the co-founders of Etherisc. We are building decentralized insurance applications on the Ethereum blockchain. And thank you very much for having me here. I've been presenting at the Blockchain Summit today. So just out of curiosity, who has seen this presentation before? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, not too much. I kind of extended it, so I hope it's not too boring for even you. And I'm happy to present what we have been doing at Etherisc over the last 1.5 years and a bit about our future plans. And I have learned that if you want to educate people on blockchain, you really need to have very concrete, very tangible examples. And so I brought you the very first insurance product that we have been working on with Etherisc. It's the flight delay insurance, and it's actually a working business. It's a fully regulated, licensed, and fully legal insurance business that is running on the Ethereum blockchain, on the public Ethereum blockchain. So you can go to ftd.etherisk.com today, and you can select your flight here. So we are flying from JFK to Cancun in that case. And you get a list of flights. You can select your flight. And if you have selected your flight, you get presented. I know it's a bit tough to read, but this is basically your insurance policy. You can select how much of a premium you want to pay. And you immediately see the expected payout that you would get if this flight is delayed. More than 15 minutes, you would get 4 times the premium you paid. And more than 30 minutes, you would get 0.30 Ether in that case. This is a simple website with which you interact with a smart contract, with a piece of software on the Ethereum blockchain. And this application accepts Ether, that's the native cryptocurrency of Ethereum, and it also accepts fiat money. So you can pay with credit card, you can pay in British pounds, US dollars, or euro, and it's using the very same set of smart contracts. I'll give you an overview over the architecture later. So as soon as you click apply, MetaMask pops up. MetaMask is a browser plugin which gives you a wallet in your browser, and you can click submit here. And if you click submit, you transfer your premium, a few Ether in that case, to the smart contract. The interesting thing is this is the last step. Nothing else is needed. As soon as your flight is delayed, you automatically get a payout. And this payout is guaranteed by software. In a smart contract, you can read the source code, you can check out the contract, you can fork it on GitHub if you like, and nobody can change the rules of this smart contract. So you have a strong guarantee that this payout actually happens, and that changes everything. Thank you. So this is your certificate of insurance that you get after the payment. For legal purposes, we are also obliged to send this to you via email. That's the only reason why we need to have your email address, because we need to send you this certificate. And this is a legal insurance contract. So it is a fully licensed insurance business. I need to emphasize this because it took us over a year to get to that point, and we are very proud that it's actually a running business now. So that was a big milestone for us. We first, thank you. It's too early. You can applaud later. So, yeah. So basically, we deployed this the very first time at DEFCON 2 in 2016. And at that time, it was an experiment, and Gary, where is Gary? Gary said, don't call it insurance. By no way call it insurance. You don't have an insurance license, and they will come after you. So by now we are allowed to call it insurance. We have an insurance license, and for us that's a big thing. So this is how it looks like on the blockchain. This is Etherscan, a blockchain explorer. This is publicly available information. So everybody who knows the contract address, and I don't have a reason to keep it private, can track this policy, can track this insurance. You can see how many policies have been sold. You can even see how much money was transferred. You can see the Ether payments. You can also see the British pounds payments and the US dollar payments. And as I said, this thing works right now. We are currently limited to flights to and from Zurich, Switzerland, and to flights from and to San Francisco. That has a particular reason. There are two events happening. Blockchain Summit in Zug was last week, and Token Summit in San Francisco will be on the 4th and 5th of December. And for those events, we are practically offering this flight delay insurance as part of a sponsorship package for those conferences. So, in insurance, what I just showed you is called parametric insurance. When the payout and the underwriting process are fully automated, insurance people call this parametric. We can apply the very same principle to other insurance verticals. For example, we have come up with a demonstrator, a proof of concept, for a weather-based crop insurance. The interesting thing here is this is 98% the same piece of code. It's exactly the same mechanics. As a farmer, I can select my piece of land here, I can select my crop, and I transfer a small premium. And as soon as there is too little or too much rain, both is bad for my crop, automatically the customer gets a payout. The exciting fact about this is, by putting this infrastructure on a public blockchain, by putting this insurance process on public infrastructure, we can drive down operating costs by a factor 10 compared to traditional insurance. And the development costs of this, we have compared this with a traditional flight delay insurance that has been developed by a large insurance company. We have development costs a factor 100 lower than theirs. So we can offer a similar insurance experience at a much, much lower cost. And in the case of crop insurance, this enables insurance for people who so far don't have access to insurance. From a commercial perspective, it doesn't make sense to offer insurance where you have 20 cents premium per month. It just doesn't make sense for an insurance company to enter that space. With such a thing, those markets become possible, and we can offer insurance for people who did not have access to that. So on a high level, the architecture looks very simple. In the middle, you have a smart contract. This is made up of business logic and some data. And this sits on the public Ethereum mainnet blockchain. On the right, you have the web-based user interface, which we just saw. That's what you use to interact with this smart contract. And we also have an SDK, so you can easily integrate it into an existing web application. Think of airlines who want to integrate it into their booking, online travel agencies. We also have a mobile interface with Status. That's a mobile Ethereum client. And we even have a chatbot now, so you can interact with this thing over chatbot. On the left, we have a very important piece. That's the Oracle. We are using Oraclize as an Oracle service provider. And the data, so the flight statistics data, is provided by a commercial service called flightstats.com. And we use Oraclize to access that data and to interface the smart contract with this data provider. Our vision is we want to enable a lot of small and big insurance applications on the public blockchain. We want to provide you with all the building blocks that you need to start your own insurance business on the Ethereum blockchain. Everything we do is open source, MIT license, so you can basically come and copy it and make money with it, and we are happy if you do it. We even support you to do it. We want to provide you with even more building blocks, not just technology, but also help with licensing. We can provide you with the capital that's needed to capitalize the risk pools, and we want to see more decentralized insurance applications out there. We have been approached by many insurtechs who don't want to work with the traditional insurance companies anymore because they find it too cumbersome or too asymmetric in the relationships. So we want to be a good partner for a lot of young and small insurance companies, and we don't need to make a profit out of those insurance companies, and we encourage you to think about starting your own insurance business or your own non-profit insurance if you want. The benefits for customers are very clear. This drives down the costs for premiums, and you can have fully transparent and provably fair insurance. Think about it. If you look at insurance nowadays, there is always a conflict of interest. The insurance has a strong commercial interest not to pay out if you have a claim. It's their profit that's going away if they pay out their claim. A smart contract, a piece of software, does not have this conflict of interest. We also came up with a proof of concept for a social insurance system. I won't go into much detail about that, but we are currently negotiating with a government of a nation to roll this out on a national level. So that's, for us, this is very exciting. And this is our very rough roadmap for the next years. So we are currently setting up the basic infrastructure. We have all the legal and the regulatory framework in place now. We have an insurance license that's coming from an insurance company in Malta. We have a foundation in Switzerland that is going to be set up that will manage the funds so that we can develop and maintain the development of a standardized decentralized insurance protocol and all these building blocks that you need to come up with your own insurance business. We also joined the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, so I'm going to take my 5 minutes to update you about the insurance working group, which we are also chairing at the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. I'll come to that later. And we managed to get our first licenses already this year, so we want to get more licenses and our own insurance company set up early next year. And yeah, basically continue. We have more products in the pipeline. We are working on an insurable wallet. So basically, if you hold crypto assets and you have a big issue if the wallet explodes or freezes. Who of you has experienced that? Anyone lost crypto? I'm sorry to hear that. So for your next venture, we have maybe a solution. And as I said, everything we do is open source, and we are happy to share that with the broader community. Of course, we have a lot of challenges, legal and regulatory, but also from a business perspective. So the business models of the old world don't work in that decentralized economy. So we have to stay constantly at the edge of innovation. And what I find personally very interesting, this insurance company that we are now using for legal purposes, it doesn't serve any function anymore. So basically all the process in this parametric insurance is on the blockchain in the smart contract. All the functionality, all the payments, the money is held in the smart contract, the risk is in the smart contract. So for us, this insurance company is really just a very thin wrapper, a legal wrapper, if you want, around a piece of software. And the question is, if you leave this out, what is this smart contract? Obviously, you can't call it insurance because that would be illegal, but you still can interact with it and it behaves and it works exactly like an insurance. So from a legal perspective, I don't know who of you here is a lawyer or in law. This is a very interesting question. We have a whole bunch of great advisors and partners to support us. We also organized a conference, the Decentralized Insurance Conference. The first one was just recently, 31st of October in Cancun in Mexico, just before the Ethereum Developer Conference. We had a great lineup of speakers there and basically trying to provide a place for this very nascent and very young community to gather and to exchange some ideas. We had the big prediction markets there. We had Matan Field talking about decentralized decision making and how to apply this to the insurance industry for claims management. And if you're interested in this, all the recordings are on YouTube now. We have also been involved in the blockchain competition. That was a $100,000 competition in Zug in Switzerland, organized by our partners, Lakeside Partners, and which was targeted at insurance applications on the blockchain. And the winner was Shielded, a very young team, 2 students from EPFL Lausanne, and master students, I think 22 or 23 years old, who came up with a very nice insurance concept on Ethereum and took home $100,000. As I said, we are also members of the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. We have initiated and are now in the honorable position to chair the insurance working group. It's an insurance working group which has one organizational, but just a tiny flaw. We don't have any insurance company yet. I mean, if Etherisc is an insurance company, we have one, but we would like to have more. And the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, as you know, is a great initiative, about 200 member companies now. And we are thinking about and working on putting together the requirements that we have for a decentralized insurance protocol and for standards, standard interfaces, standard building blocks to build insurance. So that's the goals and the topics of this insurance working group. As I said, we would encourage other insurance companies to join this working group. That would be great. So who of you here is into development and more on the technology side of things? That's enough. Okay, great. So I'll give you a short overview. Do I have more time? Connor, how am I doing in time? Got you. So I give you a brief overview of how we see this insurance protocol, or a decentralized insurance protocol. This is a very naive and a very rough protocol stack as we see it evolve. So on the bottom layer, we have the Ethereum clients, Parity, we have the Ethereum virtual machine. On top of that, we have higher order languages like Solidity. And on top of Solidity, we see a few standards emerge, a few standard libraries, coding best practices. And on top of that, everybody builds their own version of a business application. So we can imagine that at some point in time, we will see a business process engine where you basically take standard business process, markup language, and compile it into Solidity, for example. And out of that, you can come up with standard processes which everybody uses, like payments, identity, KYC, governance processes. So it's always the same building blocks, and we are seeing standards emerge here. And on top of that, you have the different verticals, insurance being one of them. And our view on insurance looks more or less like this. So that's the current architecture of the flight delay application. It's a set of currently 7 smart contracts. You can see them here in the yellow boxes. And we have tried to separate the functionality into logical building blocks. And there is only one contract which is publicly addressable, that's new policy. So it's the only thing that needs to be reachable from the outside. If you want to create a new policy, you interact with this smart contract. There is a controller, a registry, which basically acts as the central building block and coordinating all the other modules. We have a ledger in terms of a financial ledger, so that's where all the accounting takes place. There is a database which takes care of all the data. There is a module for underwriting and a module for the payout process. Those are the two that need to interact with the Oracle, with Oraclize, and with the data source behind Oraclize. And there is an access control contract too. So the nice thing about such a setup is this is upgradable. So if there is a bug or if there is a malfunction, we can easily exchange one of those modules and update the contract in real time. Now, I see a few question marks in your heads. How does this work together with this immutability thing? It works together very nicely because it's very transparent, the update process. Everybody can follow that, and nobody can do this without the users noticing. And the database and the data can stay the same. So we still have immutability, but we also have upgradability. And that's a very important feature. So we've heard a lot about tokens and token sales in this community. We also develop token models. And I want to present you with one of the cornerstones for our upcoming DIP token, the Decentralized Insurance Protocol token. And this is a utility token. I like to think of it as a platform token. Others might call it a protocol token. One of the utility functions that we envision is solving an actual problem that we are experiencing when operating this set of smart contracts. We are experiencing this problem on a daily basis. And that's the Oracle does not send the data that we expect. Yeah, so for this to function, we rely on the Oracle to send the flight statistics in time so that the user does not need to wait for too long. And if this does not happen, we have a problem. So our take on this, we have talked to Oraclize. We told them, guys, if you want to provide this service, you need to stake tokens. You basically need to put a deposit, 1 million in tokens, and if you don't deliver the data that we need in time, you lose some of those tokens. So you lose your stake. And the interesting thing here is, so this is the case, the callback does not arrive. We can use those tokens to incentivize someone else, a fallback, a human backstop. We can incentivize people on the internet, earn a few tokens if you tell us if this flight was delayed, because Oraclize won't answer. And that's actually a very good use case for this platform token. And we are now rolling out the next version of Flight Delay, which integrates this token model already in production. That's it from my side. Do we have time for questions? A couple of questions. Very good. Thank you. So thank you very much for your attention. I'm very happy to have questions.
In one of the slides, you say that there is a conflict between standard insurance company with the smart contracts. Can you expand this?
I see a conflict of interest inside traditional insurance companies.
So why a traditional insurance company maybe can stop working with blockchain? where is the
It's
conflict?
it's not related to blockchain. It's existing in the traditional insurance model as it is. We have the way to deal with it currently is to have a lot of regulation. So basically, insurance companies are very restricted in what they can do and can't do.
So
but there is an inherent conflict of interest in insurance that they have a strong commercial interest not to pay out, and you as a customer have a strong interest that they actually pay out. So this creates a very asymmetric relation.
Can they take advantage of blockchain as traditional insurance?
It doesn't have to do anything with blockchain. That's inherent in the current system.
Yeah.
Great talk, by the way.
Thank you.
I want to ask you, because I used to have a gaming company myself in Malta, and
very good.
can anyone? This kind of reminds me of gaming or gambling
Yes.
as well. I mean, anyone must be able to wager, or so to speak, on that flight being cancelled or that
Yes.
crop, because you cannot prove identity or ownership of any underlying assets. So
yes.
that's my question.
Very good question. I can show you the difference between gambling and insurance. You see this checkbox down here? I have a ticket for this flight. If we leave away this checkbox, it's gambling. If we put the checkbox there, it's insurance.
Thank you.
No, really, really. That's the proof. That's the proof of what insurance calls the insurable interest. And if the user says, of course I have a ticket for this flight, our customer has an insurable interest.
Thank you. Great answer.
So here you go.
I'm just going to do one more question, and we're going to need to keep going, just
Very good.
because of time.
How do you manage the fiat?
Yes, very good question. Thank you. So we were playing around with a few so-called Fiat gateways. Our first solution was to issue and redeem our own Fiat token. Yeah, that was our first very naive solution. It's a mess, yeah, so you don't want to do that. Yeah. It's a closed system, but you still don't want to do that. What we came up with is actually a very simple scheme. We encode the US dollar value of the credit card payment. So basically we convert all the credit card payments into US dollar. And we encode the US dollar amount in Y. So in the last decimals of the Ethereum payment. It's basically a few microcent worth of Ether. And you say you pay $25, so we encode it in 25Y, which is worth nothing. But we can use the very same smart contract to route this payment through our smart contract system. Yes, very simple, very effective, works very nicely. I can recommend it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stephan.